Welcome back to the channel. If you're not a subscriber, we'd love to have you, so just make sure you hit that subscribe button. And what I wanted to talk about today is I've been doing a lot of research on the Apple MacBook Pros for the past several weeks, and I've seen a lot of negative stuff about them, about the keyboards, about the battery, and then I've also seen quite a few good things. So I mean, it probably just varies between people depending on what they want. Most of them are pretty high priced. The one I wanted was about $3,000, and what I primarily use it for is for work and to edit these YouTube videos and just everyday web browsing. Now, previously I had been using a Apple MacBook 2008 edition, and it's ran pretty well for its age. I upgraded the RAM in it and put the newest operating software, the High Sierra, and it runs it decently, pretty much for everyday web browsing, but it struggles when you get to make YouTube videos on iMovie that are over 8 to 10 minutes long. It just can't process it and handle it. So that's what I've previously been using and getting by with it, and I just had enough of it, and it was time for me to get something new. So again, like I said, I did a lot of research on the Apple MacBook Pro 2017 models, and I have a Dell, not a Dell, but a HP Envy laptop with touchscreen, iCore 5, and it's okay, but it's not like the MacBook. I prefer the operating system on the Macs more than I do the Windows. To me, it's easier to navigate. But anyway, what I wanted to talk about is I actually purchased the new MacBook Pro, so I want to get into doing a little review on it and what I think of it so far. So stay tuned. Well, alright guys, here it is, the new 2017 MacBook Pro to replace my old 2008 MacBook. So we'll be saying goodbye to the old white MacBook. It still functions, but I'm probably just not going to use it anymore. As you can tell, much thinner. I'm sure everybody that's looked at these already knows all this, and this was the 13-inch MacBook Pro, or not MacBook, just plain MacBook. Came out in 2008, had the Core 2 Duo processor in it, and it only had 2 gigabytes of RAM, and I upgraded it to a 4, and I tried 2 4s and it wouldn't run an 8, so I got a 4 and a 1, so it's running happily at 5 gigabytes of RAM, and that's as much as I can put in it. It's still okay for browsing the web. I mean, it's a little bit slow, but I got the Wi-Fi on it turned off, so that's why it's not going to open it compared to the new one. So much faster. Most of the reviews I watched, people were comparing these to like the 2015 MacBooks and saying that they weren't much better for the price, but I'm coming from 2008 to 2017, and it's a night and day difference for me. People talked about the touch bar. I did get the touch bar, and no issues with it there. I really enjoy it. I think it's a great feature. I read some complaints where people thought it was a little bit pixelated. To me, it looks fine. I don't think it's pixelated. There was some issues people had with the trackpad being this big compared to the older ones that were smaller. But I don't do a whole lot of like letter typing, so I'm not really concerned with it. I found it's quite useful for dragging and dropping stuff a long ways across the screen because you can travel farther. It hadn't been an issue for me typing, clicking on stuff, and nor has it been an issue for me typing up here and hitting the touch bar. So the keyboard, a lot of people didn't like the keyboard. I did read that they said from the 16 to the 17 with the butterfly mechanism that Apple had a lot of trouble with their keyboards in 2016, and people just didn't like the response that they were getting out of the keys when they were typing. But to me, after going from this keyboard where you got some depth to the keys from pressing, and then typing on this, I like the shallower press keys better. And they click and they're louder, so to me, I like it better than the older style. My only complaint so far, well, it's not really a complaint, is how they've gone away with all the ports. Like the old ones, this one had all those Ethernet, and I don't even know what that port is for or what it was called back in the day, but it was for like your little adapters and stuff, and then 2 USBs. So this new one only has the 4 Thunderbolt ports on it. Now a lot of people said this was an issue for them because they had to buy all these separate little dongles and whatnot to go with it. But I use my iPhone to record a lot of videos, and for right now, maybe get a different camera later, but my iPhone works really well. And when I want to transfer videos and files, I just come down here to Finder, go up to AirDrop, and I just AirDrop it to it, so I don't even have to hook it up to do anything. So that not as much of a concern as I originally thought, but I've only been using it for a few days. I'm sure I'll run into somewhere where I wish I had some ports on the side, but just in case, I went ahead and bought this hyperdrive little deal here that plugs into the USB-C, and then it gives you another USB-C, 2 USBs, a SD card, microphone, and HDMI. I like this thing just because it has the card reader and then the regular USBs on it, but they make another one that has 2 USB-C side by side, and I wish I would have got that because when you plug it in, it's just a little bit flimsy, and if you're not careful with it, you could damage your port. So you just have to be careful with it when you're using it. Another great thing about the ports is you can charge it from either side, which is handy depending on what side you need the charger to plug into. But I do miss the MagSafe. This was really nice feature that I found online. You can get a USB-C to MagSafe converter, so you can still use that. because it's nice if you're sitting in the chair or something, you got your laptop cord plugged in across the room, and your dog walks by and trips over it, and it doesn't jerk it off. It doesn't tear up your port. It just comes off because it's magnetic. So that was really nice to have that. Other than that, really no issues so far, other than kind of wish they had a couple standard USB ports on the MacBook Pro here, but I did read somewhere online that the new iPhone 8s, or not iPhone 8s, but 9 or whatever they're going to call it, the new iPhones that are supposed to come out, were supposed to come out with the USB-C connector. So hopefully they do. That'd be great, just in case you do need to plug it in. You can just plug it in and not have to have your adapters. Another complaint that I've seen is Apple doesn't make a laptop that's touchscreen. Now, I've had that HP Envy for a while. It's touchscreen, and to be honest with you, I really don't even use it that much. It's I mean, it's not as handy as you'd think. If you want a big touchscreen, just get like a iPad or tablet or one of those big iPad Pros or whatnot. But I don't find it a complaint really to not have a touchscreen. And another thing I'll show you, some people complained about the you probably can't see it because of the light, but anyway, on the older MacBooks the Apple logo is illuminated, and now on the newer ones they're not. So it's more kind of like the iPhone and iPad look, which is fine with me. It doesn't bother me because you never see it anyway when you're sitting there working on the computer. But it does cut down on battery usage, I would think, not having to run the backlight on that logo. So one other complaint is the camera. People think that when you're paying that kind of money for a laptop, it ought to have at least a 1080 to 2K camera on the FaceTime camera, and this one's actually 720, but it's a big upgrade from the old iSight camera on the 08 model. But I think, yeah, they should have probably put a better camera in it, but I tried FaceTime on it, and it's not as bad as you'd think it would be for being a 720. So another thing that I'm kind of not happy with is you can't get into there and upgrade the RAM. It's all sealed in these new ones. You can't change out the hard drive or anything like that. So I did end up and purchase some more expensive 512 SSD and the 16 gig of RAM. If I need more storage, I'm just going to have to get an external SSD. But as far as the RAM goes, I doubt I'll ever need anything over 16. That 16 gig runs the Final Cut Pro just fine. It renders it fast and doesn't have any lag to it. People want 32 gig of RAM in a laptop because they say other companies are making them, and I get it. I mean, it's Apple, you pay for the name, but I really like their products. But I don't need 32 gigs of RAM in my laptop because I'm not running SolidWorks or anything like that. So anyway, this is going to be my review of it for now. Hopefully maybe in 6 months or a year I can do another one and kind of give you some more pointers or whatnot on as far as should you buy one. But as for right now, if you can afford to buy one, then I'd recommend it because it works great for video editing and the stuff I need it for. So anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and hopefully maybe helped you out on if you're thinking about getting one. So Be sure and hit the like button if you did enjoy it. If you're not a subscriber, make sure you hit that subscribe button, and we'll see you next time.